Right, let's try this a third time.
It's displacement. Maths.
Well, you know what they say, wash pot never boils, which, you know, is scientifically impossible according to the laws of thermodynamics. It doesn't care whether you're looking at it or not, it's going to boil. You're essentially kind of making a vinegar, garlic, coriander tea, which isn't something that I really wanted to think about. I don't know why I did think of that. Right, don't get worried, channel hasn't taken a weird turn. I haven't gotten into fetish stuff or anything. I'm making pickled jalapenos. We're making pickled jalapenos. Absolutely love pickled jalapenos. You can buy them in the shop, they're not expensive in the jar already pickled. And I don't know why, but jalapenos are kind of hard to find in the UK, depending on where you live. I mean, if you're in London, you're probably, if you're like in central London, you're probably a bit lucky. Supermarkets don't generally stock them. There's one ethnic food market near me that does stock them. But if you can get hold of fresh jalapenos, making your own pickled jalapenos is one of those sort of things that doesn't take a lot of effort. You can make a big batch of them at once and they last forever, but they taste infinitely better than the ones that you buy in a jar pre-pickled. Technically you can pickle any chilli. You can buy jars of other pickled like finger chilies and bird's eye chilies and stuff like that. Pickled jalapenos, where they're not super spicy, but they are quite spicy, and they've got quite a nice floral flavoursome punch to them as well, kind of already a little bit sweet. They're just like the perfect pickled thing, and pickled jalapenos are there, go on everything. You've seen me cook before. Normally I wouldn't wear gloves when I'm handling chilies, because I've only been chopping up 1 or 2, 3, maybe 4. I've got a big bag of loads of pickled jalapenos, and obviously I've washed my hands before, and I'm going to wash my hands afterwards. But it just makes your life, because you've got gloves on, you're less likely to touch your face instantly. It's like a psychosomatic sort of thing. And afterwards, I'm going to take these off and then wash my hands. So when I go to the toilet or I touch my eyes or whatever, I'm not going to have that residual heat left over that's going to burn the crap out of me. So what we're going to do is we're going to slice these jalapenos up. You may notice I've got a bowl with a colander in it. I'm going to slice the jalapenos, I'm going to put them into the colander, and why, I will tell you later. But what you want is, I usually get a jalapeno, and I start at the pointed end, chop about that much off, and then from then on, I just chop them into sort of like ever so slightly thicker than a pound coin. You can go really thin if you want, or quite thick, it's completely up to you. But yeah. Just go through all your jalapenos, as many as you've got, as many as you want to pickle. And obviously the very tip is rubbish, but the rest of it, chuck it all in that colander over the bowl. So yeah, I'm going to work my way through this big bag of jalapenos, and I'll see you in however long it takes me to do that in a bit. Right, so chopped up a load of jalapenos in the colander. What I meant to say, and I forgot, was when you're chopping them, pick the jalapenos up, put them in there, but leave the seeds on the chopping board, then chuck the seeds away. Because what we're now going to do is, you already see, some of the seeds have dropped through into that bowl. They're rubbish, and we're going to rinse these. It's a good idea to give them a wash anyway, but we're going to give them a rinse to get rid of a load of those excess seeds. Just because we don't want these pickled jalapenos to be blow your bollocks off spicy. So this is just going to get rid of all those excess seeds that are going to stop it from being ridiculously spicy. Can't remember where I got that from. I think it might have been Chef John. Right, so I am going to be pickling these in one of these Kilner jars with the 2-part lids. If you've got one of those clippy top mason jars, well, that is a Kilner jar, I think. This is a Mason's jar. Yeah, this Mason jar is made by Kilner, and I've got some Kilner jars that are made by Mason, but by the way. Something like this that you know you can fit them all in and put them all in. So now they're all in the jar. You can fill the jar right the way up to the top if you want, or do as many or as little as you want, but that's up to you. What I would suggest now is taking your gloves off, because we're finished touching the spicy stuff. So remove your gloves, bin your gloves, or compost them if they're compostable, and give your hands a good wash with soap. Because what makes spicy stuff spicy is an oil. which is why milk breaks it down, like if you drink milk or eat yogurt, because lactic sugar, it's if lactic acid or lactose, the sugar, one or the other, breaks down oil. Use soap, even dish soap will do, just saying, because then that breaks down the oil. Right, so now we're going to make a pickling liquid, which is equal parts tap water, well, water, you can use distilled water, you can use bottled water, you can use whatever sort of water you want, I'm not fussed. Water and distilled white vinegar, or white pickling vinegar. I know this jar is a litre and I've about half filled it, so I'm going to make 500 ml of pickling liquid. You can make as much as you want. You're going to need enough to cover all of the, fill all of the jar and its contents. You can make extra and store the excess in another jar. You can use this mixture to pickle pretty much anything. But if you are really worried about extra, waste and excess, with the jalapenos in the jar, fill the jar up with water. Pour the water out, obviously leaving the jalapenos in the jar, into a measuring jug. And then however much is in that jug, you know is the spare space in the jar. So say you then pour out 600 ml of liquid, you know that you need 300 ml of water, 300 ml of vinegar. It's displacement. Maths. Right, anyway, here we go. So, in a saucepan, on the heat, we're going to chuck in 3 bay leaves, fresh or dry, and a tablespoon coriander seeds. So less than a tablespoon, because I didn't have as many as I thought I did. And 3 slightly, not crushed, but ever so squished. Oh, bit too much. Garlic cloves. I'm going to go in there as well. And you might want to get a spoon or a spatula or something. You just want to keep that moving a little bit because it will burn. But we're just going to toast that up a little bit. Now, as soon as you can start hearing it crackle a little bit, really as soon as your room starts to get really floral with the smell of bay leaves and coriander and garlic, we're going to chuck in our vinegar and our water. Give it a stir. You might want to turn your heat up because the water and the vinegar are both cold. Just gone into that pan. To that we're going to add a tablespoon of salt and 3 tablespoons of sugar. And stir all of that till it's dissolved, and you want to bring this almost up to a boil. Get it simmering. What I would say is you might want to open a window or turn on your extractor, not stick your face over it, because the smell of boiling vinegar is quite strong, quite pungent. Not necessarily bad, but it's the smell of boiling vinegar. Give it a few little stirs here and there just so that everything's getting to know one another. Right, so as it comes up to a decent simmer, kill the heat. Now you can pour this straight into your jar if you want, but I'm not got exactly the best aim, so I'm going to pour it into a jug first. Make sure all your coriander and your bay leaves come out. And now we're going to go into the jar. And again, make sure all your coriander and your bay leaves and garlic all comes out. So now, before this has a chance to cool down, you want to put the lid on. If you're canning it, for want of a better phrase. Screw that on tight. And turn it upside down. And leave it to cool. So you should leave it somewhere where you can see if it leaks at all. Because if it leaks, that means it's not sealed properly and you'll have to eat them on the quick. If it has sealed properly, the little clicky thing on the top of the bottle, when you push it in, won't pop back out again. And then you can put them in a cupboard and forget about them. Open them when you want them, because they will then be shelf stable canned. Well, won't last forever, but you know. So yeah, put that somewhere where you can just leave it for however long it takes for it to cool down. A couple of hours, most likely. So yeah, see you in a couple of hours. Okay, right. So it's been hours. It's cooled down. It's ever so slightly still warm, but it doesn't need to cool down to room temperature. And you should be able to see that the clicky toppy top thing, you know, hang on. You know the clicky top on the top of a jar? That should be sucked down. Now, you might see that the jalapenos have got that. They're not the vibrant green, they're the duller green that you'd get from pickled jalapenos. The garlic might start to go, it's like a weird blue colour. I've looked that up before because it's happened to me before. It's completely fine. It's literally just a reaction between the acid and sugars and stuff like that and the garlic. Because it was a hot pickle, I'd process it they're fine to use almost straight away, but what I would say is if you give it a week, that's really when they hit the sweet spot. But this doesn't need to go in the fridge once it's sealed. Once you've opened that and the thingy pops back up again and you let air in, then you need to keep it refrigerated. But for a week or two, until you want to start using it, leave it on the side, leave it in your pantry, stick it wherever. But there you go. Quick and easy. If you can get hold of them, excellent to have. And like I said, pickled jalapenos that you've made yourself, they're just infinitely better than any of the ones you can get out of the shops. This is also cool, like I said, it doesn't have to be jalapenos, you can pickle any chili, or this pickling solution, pickling fluid, pickling liquid. This pickle is great for pretty much anything. It's like in the middle ground of sour and sweet. I use this as well to pickle onions and asparagus. Pickled asparagus is really quite nice. I've also pickled carrots, pickled asparagus, and you can mix it up, like leave out the coriander and the garlic, put in some dill, which would be a lot more traditional. I've pickled cabbage as well. That's really cool. There you go, pickled jalapenos. Great in sandwiches, they're great on a pizza, they're great in fajitas. I've made these because in a couple of weeks' time, we're gonna make bacon and mackerel tacos. So, subscribe, hit the bell notification thing so that when that video comes up, you'll find out about it straight away. Follow me on Instagram. All this stuff goes up on Instagram before it goes up on YouTube. Not the full-length videos, but I talk about that stuff over there. Hit me up on Instagram if you want. Ask me any questions. Comment if you've got any questions. Let me know what you use these on as well, because I'm always up for suggestions on, like, I eat these straight out of the jar, but always looking for new places to put them. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you when I see ya. Laters, taters.